There's an old Irish prayer that says, "Deliver us, O Lord, from ghoulies and ghosties and long-legged beasties and things that go bump in the night." It's an old Irish prayer. Unfortunately, Taos was not a hotbed of Irish settlement, but we did have Spanish prayers that went similar to those. There's one called the Lord of the Willow, and the Lord of the Willow says, "Cristo poderoso, deliver us from all harm, líbranos de todo mal, de robos en camino real, from highwaymen robberies, de vecinos que intenten hacernos mal, and from bad neighbors." The worst thing you could have, the scariest thing you could have in New Mexico was a bad neighbor. Everywhere that you drive in New Mexico, there are descansos, or as Texans say, beer sconces. These descansos are places where souls have been spilt along highways and byways and caminos all over Taos. I was recently gassing up at one of the gas stations, and the lady said to me, "Senor Torres, I have something to tell you." "What?" "I came in from Cuesta and I'm seeing a man." I said, "Does your husband know?" She said, "Not that kind of a man." I said, "What kind of a man?" She says, "He stands by the side of the road, and the minute that I pass, he waves and disappears as the car passes by." I said to her, "Is there a cruz? Is there a descanso by the side of the road?" She said, "I don't know." I said, "Why don't you go check?" So she went and found one lying on the ground. It had been knocked over. The place where she saw it is right across the street from Mr. Gorman's place. They're coming into town. Well, she said, what is this creature? And I said, "This is called a descarnado." Descarnados at this time of year walk the streets of Taos. They are spirits that are trying to find their way back home. You never pick up a hitchhiker this time of year within 33 feet of one of these fallen crosses. 33 feet is what they're allowed to wander around the cross until somebody directs them. So she took me back, we re-erected the cross, I said the prayers for the dead, and she never saw him again. Descarnados, the unfleshed ones, are all over the place in New Mexico at this time of year. Taos Plaza, there was a time when there were no lights on Taos Plaza. There was a hotel there called the Liebert Hotel. The Liebert Hotel became the Colombian Hotel, and in 1933 it was changed into La Fonda Hotel by Psyche Caravas's parents. James and Nula Caravas came from Ithaca, Greece. In 1933 they established it as the La Fonda Hotel. They said La Fonda, which means the end of the trail, is not in Santa Fe, it is in Taos. So they changed it to that. Now James Caravas was fond of cigar smoking, as was Saki. And he would smoke in the middle of the night wearing his long jacket. People hanging out of El Gaucho bar would look over there and see this glowing thing in the middle of the night wearing a long coat. And so El Cute Largo, long coats, was born. Years later, I told this story to Saki Caravas, and he laughed. He roared. He said, "My father would be proud to know that he inspired a monster in Taos, Nuevo Mexico." Now, I have been teaching in Memphis, Tennessee for a quarter of a century. Every summer I keep my bedroom 17 stories up in Memphis. Sometimes I take a nap in the afternoon and my hand is hanging over the bed. Then I remember the Coco Man and I kinda bring it in. Now part of me, the professor says, "You stupid jerk. What's a Coco Man gonna be doing 17 stories up in Memphis, Tennessee?" But the Seco boy knows better, you see. We spend a long time recovering from our childhoods, and many of us never do.